Hey guys, I want to go over the real part of this assignment, which is ultimately writing an op-ed. An op-ed is an opinion piece. It's different than a news article because what it does is it uses facts to prove an opinion, to prove someone's argument. A newspaper doesn't necessarily prove an argument, it presents facts. An op-ed assembles facts as convenient for the author to prove a point. Okay, so it's very different than a newspaper. You could have an op-ed in many different types of media, from newspaper to magazine to websites to Instagram. Really, anywhere that you would find writing, you might find this as well. They're usually really focused on one single issue, as yours will be as well. Um, so, an op-ed has a few things that really make it different than a newspaper. It's usually short. Yours is going to be much shorter than it says on the slides here. Yours will be 250 words, but it has a clearly defined point, and the point of view is very clear, right? So if we were doing an analysis of this as a primary source, or a source document, right, you would say, oh, well, a bias clearly exists in this because this person believes a certain way, okay? When you're writing an op-ed column, an op-ed or a column or an opinion piece, you really want to try to prove a point, okay? So what is the point? Who are you writing to convince? In this case, you're going to be writing to convince President Truman and the general public in 1948 of something that we'll get to in a little bit. And you want to make sure that there's substance to your argument. You want to make sure that it actually means something. Okay, you want to make sure that your evidence and your argument actually can be proven. Okay. Um, there's always a topic, okay, so that it focuses on, right? You're going to be focusing on dealing with the USSR, okay? This is something that you want to state as soon as you can. You want to talk about why your point's important, and you want to make sure to really address that. What's the big idea and what's your point? Um, you always need to do research to write an op-ed. Now, your research should come from all the assignments that I've given to you. I can also post a link to a PDF version of all the materials that you've been working on, but you can go back into Echo, okay? You need to be able to prove your points referencing information. Please don't just go to Wikipedia. Think about all of the things that we've done, okay? We've talked about the Truman Doctrine. We've talked about the Marshall Plan. We've talked about containment. We've talked about just the general idea of how people in the West view communism and how communist Russia views the West. Use all of those pieces. We've talked about the things that Russia responds to, right? Use those things in this piece. So an op-ed always has a very strong opener. The hook at the beginning is very important, okay? It's kind of like your thesis, but remember, this would be for a newspaper, so you want it to be very intriguing, okay? It lays the foundation of your argument. I think this because of this. My kids are having a meltdown, sorry guys. Now, when it comes to the ending, you want to really have this echo your introduction and your thesis. Okay, this should have an epiphany or calls the reader to action. This is so important, right? In this case, you're going to be writing to Truman. You want to make it clear that Truman should do what you think in this part. Okay, and so you can have an open or a closed ending. An open ending would make a suggestion. Okay, a close and ending gives a solid conclusion. Okay, so think about how you want to deal with this. Now, there's a lot of ways that you can define your own voice. Okay, I would think about you know writing in a convincing way. You want to describe all of the events that are going on, but you really want to make it appear as if you know what's going on.